Hey y'all, happy Monday. Good morning. Let me know if y'all can hear me, okay? Hey Korea Lover, hey Triple Darkness, hey JR Black, hey Michelle's daughter, hey Miss Alfreda, hey Lena, hey Love Blake, hey iPhone user. How you guys doing this morning? Hey Water Sniper too. Oh, you a mess. You a mess, Water Sniper. Okay, so happy Monday. I hope that you guys had a good weekend. So you can hear me. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know, Coriel. So this morning, I wanted to talk about what happened at the Oscars last night. I wanted to do a hey Robbie on the wheels. I thought about doing just an upload because it's entertainment news, but there's a conversation to be had. Hey D Cop, hey Natasha Holiday, how y'all doing? It's a I say it's a conversation because for a couple of different reasons, and we're going to get into that this morning. You guys know that I love my entertainment news, but this skirts on a larger issue, right? There's some other things that were going on. So last night, let me pull this up. Hold on, I have pictures for you guys this morning. I do, I do. So last night, at the Oscars, this is the one I want to show first. Um, let's just start with the fashion. I think everybody looked great. I think Jada was beautiful. Let's start right here. I think Jada looked beautiful in her gown. I think she was flawless. I think she, that Hunter Green, like really complimented her. Her cut, her cut. Her tone. I think Will looked great. And it was just a wonderful night, right? So we know that Will had been nominated for the Best Actor award for his role in portraying Venus and Serena Williams' father, King Richard, and it was a family film. It talked about Venus and Serena's journey and how hard her mom and her dad had to fight to get them to where they are today when it comes to the world of tennis, because we know that the world of tennis is predominantly a Anglo dominated sport, right? And so it was a beautiful film. If you haven't seen it, I hope you've seen it. Will did an excellent job. Um, you know, in his role as King Richard. I think that when he did his role, by him performing, by him acting King Richard and him getting into the character, I think that taught Will a lesson about how to protect one's family, right? And so I think that is the mindset that he was in last night. And so, but last night we know for a long time that Will and Jada and their whole family have been the fodder for public opinion. They have been humiliated time after time. We know that they have both have very public affairs, and people have talked about that. You know that Jada does the red table talk, when she talks about not only family issues but other issues, personal issues. And so, but here recently, they have been, they just been, it's been bad press for a very long time, right? For years, right? And so, not to mention in 2016, um, yeah, they've been a butt of jokes for a long time, right? And it was no different last night, in my opinion. Y'all please hit the like button, right? And so, because of that, and last night when the Oscars first started last night, I don't know if you guys seen the Oscars. I saw bits and pieces. Well, it first started out with Beyonce. Just let me shout out let me shout out the queen, right? She was on the actual, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but they say that Beyonce, when she did her performance last night, she was in tennis ball green. Her whole Everybody was the band. Beyonce, she looked beautiful. She Beyonce, and she was her song was nominated for the song that she sung in the movie King Richard, right? So the show starts off with that. Beyonce was beautiful. She's still the queen, in my opinion. She did that, right? She was in Compton on the actual basketball court. She did that. In case you guys, it was just a little bit of trivia. In case you guys didn't know that she was on the actual basketball court, I think she looked beautiful. Go Beyonce, girl, right? So we come into. I saw a lot of the fashions. I love the fashions. A lot of people looked great. Some not so good, but I loved it. You know what I mean? I love the fashions overall. Um, when they first started, there was a girl by the name of, oh Lord, I forgot her name. But she was given the award for her role in West Side Story. She says she's openly queer and proud of it, and she was the first Afro Latina. I'm glad that she mentioned that she was the Afro Latina to be nominated and win the award in her category. I can't think of her name. Lord have mercy, but she looked beautiful in her red. And so that was cool for her, giving that shout out and acknowledging her heritage, especially as far as Latinos go. And so yeah, that was cool. So the night goes on, right? So a little bit after that, they and also the awards were the announcers for the awards were three women. That was a first. It was Regina Hall, uh and Amy Schumer, and my girl, the comedian. I forgot her name too, y'all. It's been a long night, right? And so they were giving the awards out. They were going to be presenters of the award, right? And so they were up there, and what is her name? Oh Lord, I can't think of her name. But anyway, they were up there. So they're the announcers for the award ceremony. I think they made a very poignant statement when they say there were three women up there because three women, they paid three women because the pay that they got for all three women being on stage was less than one man, announcing the award, being the Wanda Sykes. Thank you. So that was very poignant. I caught that. So the night goes on, and Regina Hall steps up, and she's doing her. Let me show y'all Regina Hall. She up her acting all thirsty and stuff. So they're. I didn't like this when it came to black women. I didn't like how she presented herself on stage, because they turned her into a thirst trap, right? I don't know if she did it herself or if it was in it. Ariana DeBose, Afro Latina. Thank you much, baby. Thank you. And so, yeah, I'm glad she acknowledged that. So I thought that was awesome. Y'all, please hit the like button. So the night goes on, and Regina Hall comes up to speak. Right, very on in the early on in the show, she acting real thirsty. When Wanda Sykes and Amy Schumer were, she was like, "I'm Wanda Sykes," and the other girl, "Hey, onside April," and the other girl was like, "I'm Amy Schumer," and Regina Hall goes, "And I'm single," right? Instead of saying she's Regina Hall, right? Now we know we got this thing going around. The larger issue for that, for me, we know that we have a lot of single black women in our community in particular, for a whole lot of reasons that we have going on in our community when it comes to our women and our men. She went on to call men upstage and pat them down, furthering, letting everybody know that she was single and black and a black. Well, she didn't say that, but that's the way I took it. She looked real thirsty. I thought that was out of place. I don't think she should have been looking like that. I don't think it was necessary. I was offended by that. In the larger issue, because like I said, I got a couple of larger issues going on here, right? You look real thirsty, Regina, girl. You shouldn't have had to do all that, right? So after she does that, getting back to Will and Jada, she makes a joke. She's calling all these hot guys on stage, right? And for her little joke, right? And she gets to Jada, and she said, "Will, you can come up on stage because I'm sure Jada won't mind, right?" And so that's a backhanded insult. When it comes to Will and Jada's marital situation, about the whole entanglement thing and all this and all that. Also, I said I think she was high and drunk, or one or the other. I don't know what she was, but she was wrong for saying that. You disrespecting a person's marriage, right? I don't think she should have said it. So she said that they laughed that off, right? A little later in the night, somebody else made a joke about Jada and her alopecia, right? So that's the second thing going on. Now, mind you, for I guess a couple of years, Will and Jada, have been the fodder for gossip, and I guess the man is tired of being humiliated, right? So she said that, somebody else said something, so up pops Chris Rock, right? So now, if you don't know the history when it comes to Chris Rock and so that's Will. If you don't know the history when it comes to Chris Rock and Will Smith, Chris Rock and Will Smith, they really don't get along. They haven't gotten along for years. Back in 2016, he made light of the fact that Jada and Will, well, really Jada, started the Oscars So White campaign. And they, that was a really big thing, right? And because Will and Jada started the Oscars, so yeah, look at Lupita, look at Lupita, like, oh no, he did it, right? And so they started the Oscar So White campaign, and that really prompted the Oscars to become more diverse, right? And so I hate that this happened, in lieu of the fact that they kind of kicked off, what culminated last night. And if you guys don't know, what happened last. So let me go on and finish this, right? So Chris Rock pops up on stage, right, with his goofy self, right? He pops up on stage. He's presenting the award for something or another, right? He up there talking, he doing his little jokes or whatever. Then he turns around. Now, knowing him and Will don't like each other, right? He turns around and cracks a joke about Jada's hair. He said, "And Jada, we look forward to seeing you in G.I. Jane too." If you guys have never seen the movie G.I. Jane, Demi Moore did a movie years ago when she was I believe she was in the Marines, and she shaved off all her hair, and all this and all that. So you're making a joke, a very day class A joke about Jada's hair. Now Jada has alopecia. Jada has been on the Red Table Talk, speaking about how hard it was for her to come to the realization that she was losing her hair. She did a Red Table Talk about it. She said at one point in time, she said when she first started losing her hair, she was in the shower one day. She and just clumps of hair start coming out of her head. Now we know that, according to the Bible and what we women know, is our hair is our crown and glory, right? You can be looking a mess from the neck down, honey, but that hair got to be on point, right? We know that, and that's for all women across the board, right? We pride ourselves on our crown and glory, right? So can you imagine how devastated you and Jada has always had this thick, pretty hair, locks and locks of curls. Her son Jaden took after her, her hair texture, just beautiful hair, right? And so and I think that Jada could have also some other health issues going on. Some of it might be stress, who knows, but she's got alopecia and she lost all of her hair, right? And for a woman, that's devastating, you know. And yeah, it's really hard. It's devastating. Like I can't imagine, right? So she went on the Red Table Talk and she talked about how hard it was. How it's just hard. She a woman, right? A beautiful woman, right? And but Jada looks gorgeous with her hair like that. But of course you're gonna be insecure about it. We all human. Sometimes you can't forget about these stars being human, right? So he goes on to make that joke. And at first, let me show you guys another side. And at first, Will tried to, laugh it off. Now, mind you, they've been getting ribbed on all night long, right? So he tried to laugh it off at first, right? And then he turns around and looks at his wife's face. Jada didn't think it was funny, especially coming from Chris Rock. So he tried to laugh it off. Everybody tried to laugh it off. He talked about, he was taking a dig at her hair loss when he said, "We look forward to seeing you in G.I. Jane." It was very day class A. I think, like I said, look at Jada. I think she looks beautiful. That gown, that hunter green gown, it was on point. Her look was to die for. You know, with her hair like that and those earrings that she had on, and she's got a beautiful face. She's a beautiful woman, but she's still gonna be insecure about it, right? And so, like I said, he tried to laugh it off, and he looks over, and sees his wife's face, And I guess that was the bottom line, right? So he walks up on stage, not only in front of the people, his co-workers, and all of this and all of that, but sorry about that. I hope y'all can see that. But in front of the world, and slaps the taste out of Chris Rock's mouth. Now, mind you, they got history, and I guess, like I said, they've been, Will and Jada have, and his whole family have been the fodder for gossip and humiliation for years. And I guess it was just the bottom line, right? So he goes up there, and at first I thought it was staged. I thought it was an act, right? Well, and then you heard the slap, right? And then Chris Rock tried to play it off, and he said, Will Smith just slapped the S out of me, or something to that effect. It's the greatest, greatest thing that happened to TV or whatever. He tried to play it off, right? And but he shut his butt up, and he didn't say nothing else about it, right? So when Will gets back to his seat, child, now this is why Lupita was looking like this, right? Lupita was looking like this because Will, after he slapped him, he went back to his seat, and Will said twice. Now the mics were cut off, right? And Will said, keep my wife's name out your effing mouth. Now, like I said, you got to remember the history. Chris Rock, he done came at Will and Jada before. He's made really sleazy comments about Jada in the name of comedy before. They've got a history, right? Chris and Will clearly don't like each other, right? So he get back to his seat. After he sit down, he's still upset. The mics are turned off, and he says again, keep my wife's name out your effing mouth, right? Now, Chris Rock, like I said, they don't, he's very inappropriate. That was a wrong place and a wrong time. This man don't like you, and it seemed like every chance he get, he gonna come at Will Smith on a public stage, right? Because they don't like each other, right? Now, in reality, we know that we all have a bottom line, right? So after that slap, and I'm gonna circle back around to that, right? But after that, they go to commercial, and after they go to commercial, Denzel Washington and Tyler Perry, because Tyler Perry, everybody daddy, right? So Denzel Washington and Tyler Perry, they pull him to the side. First, his publicist sit down and talk to him, because by this time Will is just on one. Will want to fight, right? So, but him and Denzel and Bradley Cooper as well, and Tyler Perry, they pull him to the side. They trying to talk to him. Denzel told him that be careful, because at your highest moment, the devil is going to try you. No, the devil will come for you, right? And I think that's what happened last night. That, along with the fact that he's tired of him and his wife being humiliated, especially in front of their children. These are real people. We know that these are actors and entertainers, but these are real people. And so they got him to calm down. Denzel, and Tyler and Bradley Cooper and the publicist, they got him to calm down. The commercial, they break from commercial, they come back. It's time for them to present the Best Actor award. And so Will, just moments after slapping the heck um out of Chris Rock with his goofy unfortunate ass. Do you see what I'm saying? He just jealous, and he wanted to get under somebody's skin. It's what Chris Rock was doing. It was inappropriate for a lot of reasons. We gonna get back to that. So moments after that slap heard out around the world, Will Smith wins the Best Actor award for the portrayal of Venus and Serena's dad, Richard Williams. Right, he won the Best Actor for that award. Right, it's his first Oscar win for the Best Actor, especially after their campaign in 2016 for Oscar So White. Now, Jada, the reason how that Oscar So White situation culminated was she felt like Will should have been nominated for another movie that he did. I can't think of the movie right now, right? But she felt like he should have been nominated for that. He was snubbed. For that movie. And so, but he did win the Best Actor award. He won his first Oscar for King Richard, right? And so that's a wonderful thing. So he gets He gets on stage, and he really is really remorseful. He starts talking about love. He starts talking about, I realize, that we are actors and entertainers, and that, we have to, you got to basically deal with people talking about you, and basically, but how far, how far do you take it? How much do you take, right? And so at that point in time, I guess it was the wrong person at the wrong time, and they had been snapping. He apologized to the academy. He apologized to everybody, his co-workers and everybody that was there. But he did not apologize to Chris Rock because he was not sorry for slapping the taste out of Chris Rock's mouth. They have history, you know, and I guess he just snapped. It wasn't, you know, yeah, but the movie was Concussion. Thank you. That was the movie, right? And so yeah, he got up and apologized. The Oscars came out with a statement saying we don't condone violence and all this and all that, right? So the Oscars, they came out with the Academy Awards. Um, they came out with that statement for a whole lot of reasons, right? In my opinion, now let's talk about it. In my opinion, that was a microaggression, right? We all know what microaggressions are. Microaggressions are things that non-black people say and do to people of color, black people mostly, is a way of insulting them, right? So when they said all that they said so far that I heard was, the Oscar does not condone violence and all this and all that, right? So um I think that's all that they had to say. Because we know when it comes to black people in America, we are seen as aggressive, especially black men seen as violent, aggressive, animalistic, toxically masculine, and everything derogatory, right? So you got Will Smith out here at the 2016 campaign, which brought about change in the Oscars. That Oscars So White campaign, it really forced the Oscars to rethink how they moved when it comes to white people, when it comes to the nominations and black people, because we know that there have been so many performances by black actors overlooked. We know that black actors as a whole are paid less than Anglo actors in Hollywood. Will, however, is very popular in Hollywood, so I'm sure he's paid top tier for his performances, right? But nevertheless, at the end of the day, he's still a black man, right? And another thing, and it was unfortunate, and just let me say this: I respect Will Smith for defending his wife, right? I hate that he came out in front of the world and slapped that man in front of the world because of everything that I just stated, right? And not only, and because of the Oscar So White thing, and because of, I hope that it didn't set back. I hope that it doesn't give the Oscars an excuse to start snubbing black people again, right? Which is what I feel will happen. Which is why I feel like the Oscars hadn't said very much about it. Do you see what I'm saying? And also, last night, you guys might not know that there's a actor. I mean, there's a producer director by the name of Will Packer, right? Will Packer is the first black man to have ever produced a Oscars ceremony, right? An Academy Awards event, right? The Academy Awards, it was beautifully the performances were beautiful. They had Beyonce up there heading off the show. It was, they had several live performances, several black people up there. I mean, Will Packer did an excellent job, right? He's a black man. It's never been done before. They had D Nice, doing the music, up top. It really was a multicultural feel about the Oscars, right? So many black people were nominated, so many black people were acknowledged, and I just hate that while I applaud him for defending his wife, I just really feel like the stakes were too high, and I hate that he had to do that in front of the world, right? Because Will Smith has worked hard on his career. He should have been nominated, in my opinion, a couple of times for a couple of movies that Will done. And I just No, it was real. It was real because that's why he apologized for it, right? The slap, like I said at first, I thought they was just playing. I thought it was just staged or something, but it was real, right? And so that's why he got up there, being very apologetic. He was moved to tears, and like I said via his speech, I think he was in the mindset of Richard Williams, Venus and Serena's dad, and how he protected his girls, he protected his family, and so and I just hate that it came out then. I just wish that he would have waited, um you know like at one of the after shows, or maybe followed him backstage, or anything would have been better than doing it, like I said, and for the reasons that I stated earlier about the comments that they make about black people, how they try to push, how they try to diminish the very very talented black people in Hollywood, black and brown people. Moreover, black people in Hollywood, we know that it's a thing, right? There are so many black movies that could have been nominated over the years, so many black actors over the years, that could have and should have won Oscars, and so I think that just gave Oscars the Academy Award, kind of the go ahead for the Oscars going back to being so white, right? It kind of gave them the excuse. That's why they haven't came out and said a lot about it, right? And so one reason, but so I just hate that it happened. Like I said, I applaud him for standing up for his wife and his family. I just hate that it happened, on stage. Will Packer's producing, it's really multicultural. The show is going out flawless. There's a movie called Coda, and the movie is about a deaf family. That movie won the best film of the year. It's a beautiful movie. If y'all haven't seen that movie, go watch that movie too. That movie was being celebrated. There's a lot of stuff that was going on, right? But the whole thing is going to be all anybody's ever is talking about today is the fact that Will Smith slapped the taste out of Chris Rock's wife, right? Now, if this was somebody like so like Charlie Sheen, or a one of those, who was the man that shot the girl by mistake, um I can't think of his name. Um, oh man, what's his name? It just happened. But if it would have been him, say it was him, right, defending his wife, right, and he snapped, he would have went up there and slapped somebody for disrespecting his wife, right? I don't think that honestly it would have overshadowed. It would have overshadowed Alec Baldwin. Thank you. Alec Baldwin is known for his bad behavior, right? He'd be slapping around paparazzi and everything, right? And so I don't think that it would have had this kind of impact had it been an Alec Baldwin or some other Anglo, right? And so because of that, and because of the stakes, because of Will Packer producing the show, because of the show being multicultural, and Will and Jada kind of got what they're asking for. They asked for the Oscars not to be so white anymore, right? And they kind of got that. But you have to ask yourself, did this set things back when it comes to black actors and producers in Hollywood? Because we know that they just will use any excuse, right? So, and we all have to be accountable for what we do, right? And so I just think that the timing was bad. I wish you would have waited to one of the Oscar parties, like I said, or even followed him backstage. You know what I mean? I wish Chris Rock wouldn't have used that to publicly humiliate Jada and Will once again. That's why him and Will got history. They don't like each other clearly, because he talked too much, right? And so, but I just hate that, because when we know when it comes to black people in anything, right? You could be a billionaire, right? And but you still, when it comes to black people, you can be a black billionaire, right? And they will still think of you less than, or the smartest person in the world, right? They will still think of, because of propaganda, they will still call you the N word. They will still consider you to be less than a very mediocre Anglo or whatever. They just want to keep you at the bottom, right? And I just don't believe that we should give them any excuse, right? And I just wish that this had been handled in a different way, right? And it's just so unfortunate to me. And like I said, because Will Packer producing, the show was beautiful. Nobody's going to be talking about how beautiful the show was that had been produced by Will Packer. Nobody's going to be talking about the little girl, I forgot her name again, Ariana DeBose, getting being the first Afro Latina to win an Oscar, ever. They're going to be talking about Chris, um and Will Smith, right? And like I said, it seemed like Chris Rock, he just got a thing for Will. Will don't like Chris. And it's just unfortunate, right? The whole thing is unfortunate because they just use any excuse, right? And I also hate that because Will Smith has such a great body of work, this is always going to be a footnote to his work, right? He's never going to be able to live this down. So is this going to stop Will forever doing big movies again? We don't know. Is he going to be blackballed? But we know for sure that Oscars 22 has been overshadowed by Will going up on stage and smacking Chris Rock, right? And like I said, we all know that it's black people, especially when you're in the entertainment world, you're a celebrity or you're a millionaire or you've got a Fortune 500 company. However, you know what I mean? You're in the public eye, and we always have to be extra mindful. That's just the reality of the situation. Is it fair? I don't think so. And it's such a hard burden for black people in that situation to always keep up, the appearance of being perfect. You have to be perfect, right? And why do we always have to be so perfect, right? And so I just hate that because he should have been thinking about the bigger picture. But everybody, I guess he just snapped. I don't know. I don't either. I just can't even. I would have been mortified. Just let me say that. I commend him for protecting his wife's sensibilities or whatever. I just think that it could have been handled off stage, right? I hate that. I hate it, right? And it just looks bad, even when it comes to being Will Packer being a producer of the show, right? It kind of diminished the accomplishment, right? And it also diminished Will Smith's accomplishment of winning the Oscar for Best Actor. It diminished that as well. And I'm just keeping it a buck, and that's just how I feel. I just hate that. And he was very apologetic for it. And I guess a person can only take so much, right? So after that, his son Jada Smith, he tweeted, and that's how we do it, talking about his family, talking about they protecting their own and all of this and all that. And after that, Will, later on that night, Will went to Twitter and he said, me and at Jada Pinkett got all dressed up to choose chaos, right? And then after that, he says you can't invite people from Philly or Baltimore nowhere, right? So this is him, really feeling, in my mind, remorseful, about that, because they say things about black people, and all this and all that. And I don't think that he chose chaos. I think that he just snapped. But like I said, you do have to be accountable for your actions. And when the world is really looking at you and judging you on everything that you do, you've been humiliated forever about your choices in your relationships, you got to be careful, right? So Chris Rock, he chose not to file charges against Will Smith. He declined to file charges. And then this is a statement from the LAPD, saying that, he the involved party desires a police report at the no, he says let's see, some investigated entities are aware of an incident between two individuals during the Academy Awards program. The incident involved one individual slapping another. Talking about Will slapping Chris. The individual involved has declined to file a police report. If the involved party desires a police report at a later date, LAPD will be able to complete an investigative report, right? So LAPD saying, we talked to the dude. He said he don't want to file no charges, right? And so at this point in time, I don't know why the LAP. I felt like if it had been somebody like an Alec Baldwin or something like that, I don't even think the LAPD would have came up and spoke about it. All this and all that. Here's a screenshot of Jada on her Instagram, explaining her alopecia, and all of this and all that, right? I just really just hate that this happened, right? For a whole lot of reasons, because the light is doubly shown on black people and black actors, and black performers, right? And so the stakes was real high last night, and I hate that this is the only thing that anybody's talking about today, right? And so I just hate that that happened, right? And so anyway, let me read some of this to find out what some of you guys think about it. That's just the way I feel. Like I said, I commend him for protecting his family, but I just feel like with the stakes being so high, it wasn't the appropriate moment. B Monique said, "Good morning, Miss O Maz and Chad. I am neutral on this topic. However, I am not fearful that Will get blackballed. I hope not. Will must understand the jokes that'll come as a result of yeah. Now they're gonna be talking about this for years, so he better gird his loins, honey, because there is more to come. Right, there is more to come." Detroit said this gives them the smart comments. Does Black Lives Matter? He was wrong. You don't put your hands on anyone, and GI Jane wasn't an insult, right? I mean, that's what I mean by you have to be accountable for what you do as adults. Whether you're in the private sector, whether you in Hollywood, whether you just somebody in your neighborhood, you have to be accountable for your actions, right? And this was not the time or the place for this, and it's just unfortunate to me, you know and I just and it just marred, just kind of overshadowed not only Will's accomplishment, but the whole night. Like everybody done such a good job. Beyonce, beautiful. The Queen opening the show. Singing her song that she made for the movie King Richard. The movie King Richard itself. The fact that they made a movie about you know uh uh uh, uh you know Richard Williams, and how what he had to go to get his daughters Venus Serena, two of the greatest athletes in tennis, and we know that for years and years and years Venus and Serena have been talked about and criticized. Every move they make was critiqued and criticized, like Will and Jada, right? But the Williams sisters, they have been having to deal with upfront racism. At one point in time, a couple of years ago, when they do the Sports Illustrated Awards for Best Athlete, do y'all remember when Serena Williams was compared to a racehorse? They compared Serena Williams to a racehorse when they were trying, saying they couldn't figure out, who. And so it was a tie between Serena Williams and a racehorse when it came to being the best athlete of that year. I forget what year it was, right? And they put her picture and the picture of the racehorse on the front of Sports Illustrated magazine, or it was ESPN or some magazine. They put their pictures side by side, and I mean, if that's not a microaggression, I don't know what is, and I just, it's just the disrespect is a lot, right? And those sisters achieved all of that, right? And their daddy fought so hard for them. Their dad and their mom and their family went so much, and to see it being celebrated last night, and Will Smith winning the award for doing such a wonderful job depicting uh Richard Williams, and to just have something like this happen, at that high point in his career, is just so unfortunate, you know. And I just no, it wasn't fake. It wasn't fake because he apologized for it. Everybody heard the slap. He went back to his seat saying, keep my wife's name out your effing mouth." What did I say that the producer's name was? You got him producing the show, a black man producing this show for the first time. You got women up there, being the head announcer. I forget what you call it. the head announcer for the show, three women. You got this Afro Latina woman, embracing her heritage and winning an award for the first time for her people. It was just like a lot going on. Right, Will Packer, thank you. It was just like a lot going on. And it was so beautiful to see how flawlessly Will Packer pulled off that award show. Will it ever happen again now? I don't know. Because, like I said, with 2016, when Jada came out with that Oscar So White campaign, it really changed. It forced the Academy Awards to move different. Not only the Academy Awards, but the SAG Awards and all of those governing bodies when it comes to how they judge and give awards to these actors, right? It really shined the light on how disrespectfully and unappreciatively that black actors and actresses are treated in Hollywood, right? And so we know that we got some of the best entertainers in the world when it comes to our people, right? We are very diverse, dynamic, talented people in our areas, not just only in entertainment, but in our walks of life. But because of propaganda and because they always want to paint a picture of us being a very derogatory, violent, especially our black men, like I said earlier, because all of that is happening in the real world. I just hate that this happened. I wish Chris Rock. Now, I'm not going to take. I think that Chris Rock also is to blame because he also know that Will Packer produced this award show, first black man to do that. He know that the stakes was high, right? Now, Chris Rock. In 2016, like I said, he came out and made a joke out of the Oscar So White campaign, right? He was saying that, basically, how dare Will and Jada launch a Oscar So White campaign? I mean, he was cooning, right? How dare they launch Oscar So White campaign, and Will got $20 million for doing Wild Wild West, which some people think was a bad movie, and Jada this and Jada that. He's made several derogatory comments about Jada, pretty much kissing Hollywood's ass, right? Which he was doing last night. But he still, with the stakes being so high, took a jab at Will. I mean, just any chance he could get, it seemed like he gonna take a jab at the man, right? Him and his wife. It was the wrong time, right? And so so I'm not taking the blame away from him either. But it just gave non-black people, a chance. It was just so unfortunate. It was just sad, and just it just diminished the gloriousness of what was going on last night, right? And so I just hate that, you know, I just hate that. But I think that now, because this has happened, Will and his family are going to be fighting for more gossip. People are going to be, talking about him even more, and it's just unfortunate. The whole thing for all the reasons that I mentioned, and we know, and it's a shame that black people have to be held at such a high standard. But we know that it is the way that it is. That's just, it's just, you just know. It just happens. It just is what it is. Like I said, if it been like somebody like a Alec Baldwin or somebody else like that, I don't think it would have been such a big a deal, you know. And so, cause he gets praised for his bad behavior, he killed a woman, and it's not going to be as newsworthy. And that family is suing him, to no fault of his own, what I understand. But the family is suing him, because he shot a gun on a movie set that he thought was blanks, and they have been protecting him ever since that happened. But that is not even gonna get as much traction as this right here for all the things that I mentioned earlier. B. Monique says, Miss Olivia, white actors and actresses display bad behavior openly. Yes, they do. But this is we live in a white dominated society, and the reality of the situation is that black people have to hold themselves at a higher standard. They're allowed to have fresh start though. Yes, they are. I hate it happening though. Yeah, they are. Given chance after chance. And so it's unfortunate. Chris was in shock, but I would have jumped off the stage as soon as as soon as it set in for me. But he had to continue his monologue or whatever, and so he was like, "Wow," he wasn't shocked. He wasn't shocked, and so yeah, TC says it's amazing that Will Smith is getting flack, but they forgot about how John Wayne had six guards holding him back. When that Native American woman spoke on behalf of Marlon Brando. Really, I didn't know about that. Wow. Wow, wow. See, I didn't know about that. People are going to forever know that Will Smith slapped the taste out of Chris Rock's mouth for speaking very derogatory and disrespectfully about her wives. Digi Dini says black folks gonna start watching the Oscars now. Well, no, no, they're not. This is just the hottest topic right now. This is what happened last night. It had so many ripple effects, so many ripple effects, and so and so many reasons to give excuses for the Oscars to become Oscars so white again. I think that's what it did. Honestly, I'm just gonna keep it a buck. Keep it a buck. This is how I feel about it. Hey Cloud, that happened in the 70s. And so yeah, I had no idea. Like I don't keep up with the Oscars and stuff like that. I keep up with the fashions. You know, now he having an emotional midlife crisis. How you smack somebody and start crying. I think they've been under so much intense scrutiny. What if he's having a mental health moment? You know what I mean? Maybe it's weird. He came out with a book not too long ago when he was talking about how he thought about killing himself because he couldn't protect his mom. When his dad would commit domestic violence against his mom, and he was just a little boy, and stuff like this. When they're talking about your whole family for years and years and years in such a derogatory manner, I would imagine, well, it will start to take a toll on you. And on such and did for the world to see. At the end of the day, we are all human, right? We are all human, and everybody is subject to snap. You know what I mean? And I think it's a shame, um, that it culminated in this, but the man just snapped. But we all have to be accountable. And it's a shame that you not only have to be accountable for your own actions, but you have to be accountable for your whole community. Okay? When you're an entertainer at that magnitude, unfortunately, you're gonna have to be accountable for your whole community. And it's not fair to us, right? But we know that if one thing go wrong, it's a broad paintbrush when it comes to black people. One black person to do something, and I remember years ago, years and years ago. Let me read this. Uh, the Will Smith. No, oh, that's not even English, child. But anyway, uh, it's a shame Will cried because he's seeing the backlash from this and the doors closing. I could be, could be. Alopecia is a long ways away from African. Well, yeah, it is. But like I said earlier, we know that hair, when it comes to hair and women, it's our crown and glory. You know what I mean? And of course, Jada is gonna feel insecure about about her hair loss, but she looks beautiful. She's beautiful with or without her. But of course she's gonna feel insecure about it because she's a woman, you know. And so yeah, I don't think Will get blackballed or anything. I hope not. I'm hoping he won't. It's just going to be a lot of gossip for a very long time, and the ripple effects are not going to be good for black entertainers, actors, actresses, or producers. And it's giving people an excuse, like I said, for Oscars to become so white again. That's what I believe. It's just you just gave them an excuse. You know, when it's one black person, it's all of us. And that's right, in their eyes, right? And that's just the truth. That's just how it is. You know, right? We won't get blackballed, hopefully not, but nobody's ever going to forget this. And for something like this to be a footnote in his career when it comes to his body of work is very unfortunate to me, because this is always going to be with him. People are always going to be talking about this, and it's unfortunate. I hate that because he's done such a wonderful body of work, and so yeah, yeah, I do believe that Will Smith is breaking down mentally. I do too, you know. He's been the brunt of every entanglement joke, right? His son is messing with Tyler the Creator, right? And who knows about Willow, right? And they had this open marriage thing, and that is a public, that is a very, it should be very proud. I don't understand why people have to, whether you're in the entertainment world, you're a celebrity or not. I don't know why people invite other people into their marriage. Don't do that. That's another thing. We see that even here on in this sector of YouTube. You just stop inviting people into your marriage. It's not a good look. And for them to be so public about, I mean, it ain't like they came out waving the red flag saying, "Hey, we're having an open marriage," right? The whole entanglement thing, it's not a good look, you know. And so you open yourself up for things like what's going on. They're being publicly humiliated, right? And now it's gonna get worse. There was a Nig moment. I hate that Will and Chris are part of it. It's very unfortunate. And it was that type of moment. He even went back and said, what did he say? They got all dressed up to go to the Oscars and chose chaos. I don't think he chose chaos. I think he snapped. And then under that, what he said, you can't take folks from Philly and Baltimore nowhere. And so it was just, how they say you can't take black folks nowhere. And so I think that was a play on words when he said that. And so, yeah, it'll be a joke for years to come. Right. Can you imagine the Oscars next year? What they're gonna be like? Well, I can't say this, that, and the other because I don't want Will Smith or somebody's husband to come up and slap me or just all kind of stuff. All kind of jokes are going to be made about that. You know. Hey, Gucci girl says I'm side eyeing a lot of black people, Um, especially black women. In one breath, protect. That's right. I'm glad you said that. In one breath, protect black women. And the moment someone does, he shouldn't have. This is his wife, and you're absolutely right, Geechee girl. Because let me tell you something about that. I would expect my husband to do nothing less, right? I'm not an actor. I'm not an entertainer. But you can't disrespect me in real life in front of my husband. Like he not having it. You're gonna get jacked up. Ain't no telling what's gonna happen, right? And because my husband not only protects me, but he protects my family. Out of men in my family, I was raised up with seeing strong black men protecting me and the females in my family, right? And we complain about online, and it's the truth how our black men don't defend us, right? We are disrespected not only by the whole world as black women, we are also disrespected by our black men. We have no protection to the point to where black women not only have to take the lead in our black community, but we also, I'm glad she mentioned it because I forgot to talk about this. Not only do we have to take a lead when it comes to our black community, a lot of us are single mothers. You have to take the lead when it comes to raising your kids. Black men have become so emasculated to the point to where when we did see that last night, it was like I think it was shocking. I think it was shocking to some black women. Honestly, especially younger black women that wasn't raised with a strong, and black men that weren't raised with a strong black role model, right? So when you see something like that, it's going to be shocking. Take away all the stuff I said about the Oscars and, how it can't kind of get out of microaggressions and all of this and all that. When you see a black man standing up and defending his wife's honor, right? No matter what they done been through in their marriage. He looked over, he tried to laugh it off. They started last night with the memes and puns. It's Miss Olivia, let me go because uh you ain't gonna Will Smith me. No, as on site, you fine, you fine. Right. So unfortunately, we are not used to seeing that, right? And because we are not used to seeing that in this day and age, it leaves black women defenseless, right? So you're looking at the Oscars and you're kind of used to them painting you as the picture of being a thought. Like I said, I had a problem with Regina Hall last night because she was looking real thirsty up there, kept mentioning that she's single, disrespecting Jada about her husband, right? Online. through every platform. I don't know who this is. Sorry that y'all. You see black women being disrespected across the board, right? I hope y'all can hear me. Hit the one if y'all can hear me. I got a phone call. You see black women being disrespected across the board. Not reading any of my I'm not reading anybody's comment. I'm trying to get out my commentary. I hit on a couple of two, but don't take it personal. I'm trying to get my commentary out because I really don't have more than an hour, right? So I'm glad y'all can hear me. Thank you. And so if I don't read your comment, don't take it personal. I just don't have time. So when you see something like that, it's kind of shocking. But you also have to deal with everything else that's going on. But for black women in particular, when you see a black man finally defending your honor, you know what I mean? It shouldn't be shocking. It's unfortunate that it had to be shocking, right? Because it should be the cultural norm, right? It should be the norm. We should be used to seeing our black men defending our honor, right? No matter the situation, right? So I would expect nothing less from the men in my family, right? If we would never be on such a grand stage as the Oscars, we would never be in the public eye for anything like that. So if you get jacked up disrespecting me or one of the females in my family, okay, it's commonplace, because we're going to be protected. But unfortunately, a lot of black women are not, and they are not used to seeing that. Okay, in Hollywood or anywhere else, right? We're used to being disrespected, right? So, if you go down the man, when it comes to black women, if you go down the man, don't down the man for protecting his wife, and his family. Maybe say, it's unfortunate that this had to happen in front of the world because of the other issues that I mentioned earlier, right? you know. And so I just hate that. But I'm proud of him for defending his wife because the look on Jada's face was so unfortunate. And so, like I said, he tried to act it out. He tried to laugh it off at first. He looked over, he seen his wife's face, and it was no longer funny, right? So he went into protection mode, right? And I think that it shouldn't be shocking when you see a black man defending his wife's honor, but it is. But it is, unfortunately. You know, what men today saying, phew, finally, the heat is off us for a few minutes. And that's unfortunate too. But you gotta ask yourself, because so many people are, what is the larger question here? Why are so many people shocked at this man um for defending his wife and his wife's honor as well as protecting his family? Why are we so shocked? Okay, is it because of propaganda? Is it because the own men, a lot of men in our community don't protect us? Our own community has been left defenseless for a whole lot of reasons, and one of the reasons why is because a lot of our men won't step up and do the job that it is supposed to do. It's unfortunate that when you see a black man defending a black woman, it's got to be something shocking because it should be the norm. But because a lot of black men, not all, but because a lot of black men have chosen to turn their backs on the black community, to turn their backs on their responsibilities when it comes to this community, that's unfortunate. Do you see what I'm saying? And but I expect nothing less from the black men in my family. You got a black men, a lot of them are so emasculated to the point to where some of them are so emasculated and so don't want to step up and do what they're supposed to do when it comes to protecting their community that they don't even want to be men anymore. They would rather compete with the black woman. And I don't want to offend anybody, but in certain circumstances, that is the truth. They get into these interracial relationships where they are further emasculated and disrespected by non-black women. When it comes, they are still doing the same thing that they did back in the Jim Crow era and before. They when a white woman cries rape or a non woman of color cries rape, they are vilified. They are not. They are not innocent until proven guilty. They are virtually still, hanging you up by your neck and cutting off your penis. Do you see what I'm saying? And a lot of that is because the black man is no longer concerned about the black family. or moreover the black community. And all of these things you have to take into consideration. Okay. On-site says no. I don't think that it's that, and Miss Olivia. It's the fact that it's Will and Jada. And some feel Jada's honor been gone, and she did it. I understand that too, but I'm talking about the larger conversation. I'm just using now at this point in time. I'm using the Will and Jada thing as an example as to why people are shocked that this man is defending his wife's honor and her sensibilities, right? And the larger issue, because y'all know I always got a larger issue. I spoke to some of the things that are going to result as a fact of what Will did, But the larger issue is that the world is used to black men not protecting their women. They're used to black women being unprotected and have to protect themselves and have to defend our own honor. And I think that's unfortunate because no other race of woman has to defend her own honor. You know, no other race of woman has been left defenseless in her own community and has to protect herself. Okay? If you think about it. And that right there is one of the larger issues for me, you know? And so, and just it's just unfortunate. But they always want to vilify you, right? And so he played into the vilification of the black man. He played into the thinking that we're all animalistic, so we don't have no emotional control, and we always got to choose violence. He played into that. But there are several larger issues here, and I wish that he could have kept that in mind at the end of the day, because there's so many other issues that we have to deal with. And we also, you got to remember that we have to deal with all those issues from the past, issues from the present, issues with the future. We have to deal with these issues at the same time. And honestly, I think at the time Will Smith, he wasn't thinking about none of that. I think he just snapped. I think he couldn't take it no more. But you still have to be accountable, because what you put out there, you're gonna get back, eventually. You can't invite the world into your marriage, and not expect some kind of disrespect, right? And because we know that when one thing is done by a black person on such an enormous platform, we all have to suffer for it. There are several, ripple effects, like I said earlier, and so I think that. But some of the issues that I stated today are some of the larger issues that we have to deal with, and it's unfortunate because nobody else, no other race of people have to deal with all this mess at the same damn time. And unfortunately, we do, and it's just, men and women will get killed. You have to use wisdom and self control. Yes, you do. That's why Denzel was so disappointed. You're absolutely right, Eric. Keep it a buck. That's why Denzel was so disappointed in it. Denzel Washington, he paved the way for a lot of black actors. Denzel Washington refused to kiss a non-black woman in his movies. He refused to do that in Hollywood, and to this day, he has not he has not kissed a non-black woman or a woman of color. Now he did kiss a woman of color in his was it Training Day movie, but she wasn't white. He refused to kiss a white woman in any of his movies. He refused to do that years ago, and I think it's because he not only wanted to honor his wife, he wanted to honor the women in his community. So I will always respect Denzel Washington for that. You know what I mean? And so it's just a lot to deal with. You know, Willis from Overbrook section of Philadelphia. He is not a punk, in my opinion. No, absolutely not. No, absolutely not. I think that he's made some. I don't think Denzel. I didn't hear Denzel say he's disappointed, but Denzel said, you gotta pay attention, because at your highest point, something like that, the devil is gonna come for you, right? And so he gave him that piece of wisdom. And Denzel was at one of his highest points, and the devil came for him, right? He just snapped. I just hate that it had to be on such a public platform. Like I really hate that. It diminished the beautiful, how beautifully um the Oscars were produced by Will Packer, first black man to do that. It kind of diminished that for me. And it diminished Will Smith finally winning an Oscar for Best Actor. It diminished that. I'm gonna keep it a buck. It just did. Chris was white. Would he have it? That's a question I asked myself too. If Chris was white, if he was a white actor, would he have struck that white actor? You have to ask yourself that too. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. That's the truth, you know. And right, comedians have freedom of speech. He ought to be used to the jokes by now. For whatever reason, last night was not the freaking night. I and I don't know why he chose that night, or if that night chose him. Food Junkie said to Olivia, this is the conversation I wanted to have with you. Okay, Food Junkie. I hate that you didn't hit me up. I was trying to look out for you. But anyway, guys, I just want to, give you guys my take on it, and introduce the larger conversation to you guys, because there's so much more that the stakes was much higher than Will Smith and what he did. Do you see what I'm saying? If that makes sense, the stakes were much higher, and I hate that he didn't take that into consideration. But when you snap, I guess you're not taking anything you know, in consideration. You just snap. And that's a good question somebody just asked. If this had been a white comedian, would Will Smith had jumped on that stage and hit that comedian for saying what he said about his wife? But also, when you're asking that question, let's take into consideration that Will and Chris have a history. They don't like each other. And Chris Rock has said very derogatory things about Jada Pinkett, you know. And so Hollywood is small. And so, these two have been into it forever. We remember Chris Rock cooning and making light of the situation, really trying to admonish the Oscar So White campaign, you know. And so we really have to take into consideration all of these things, even when it comes down to the conversation about black men not protecting black women in our community. You know, that's right. That's right. Get you black man, white man, green man. Disrespect is disrespect. Right. And it's not the first person that had disrespected them that's night. It started off with Regina Bell disrespecting Jada and Will's marriage. Saying it's okay, your husband can come up here with her thirsty acting ass. It started out with that. Miss Olivia, my grandmama always said it takes a lifetime to grow your brain, but it takes a split second to close your mind. You're absolutely right. And you're absolutely right. And it also reminds me of that Bible verse. It says what? Quick to listen, slow to respond, and slow to act. Be quick to listen, slow to respond, and slow to act. And so, yeah, I just hate that. I just hate that. You know. It was, but Regina Bell, she was at Regina Hall. She was acting real thirsty up there. I don't think that was a good look for black women. Nobody's talking about that. I think that was real. She was looking real thirsty up there, and I don't think she should have acted that. Okay, you single, we get it. All right, why you got to be up there acting like that? It ain't cute for you to be presenting yourself as a black woman in that manner. In my opinion, that's just how I feel about it. And so, yeah, real thirsty, real thirsty. So yeah, I don't appreciate that. You know. Oh, I never even heard about that. I says, yeah, Will popped a white reporter tried to kiss him, and he back heartily slapped him. So I don't think it has anything to do with Chris being black. No, well, that's a good point. I hadn't even ever heard about that. I think it had more to do with Will and Chris not liking each other. Hey, Kay Summers, I think it had more to do with that at the end of the day. I think he just snapped. I think if anybody else, black or white, would have said that, he might not have got up there and slapped him, but he can't stand Chris Rock. And we are all human at the end of the day. So, yeah. Will was laughing at. Yeah, he was laughing at first. They said Jada told him to do it. I don't think Jada told him to do it. Then they had a meme saying she wasn't satisfied because Tupac would have shot. Oh wow, that's a lot. Like he was trying to laugh it off. Everybody was trying to laugh it off, But he looked over and he seen his wife's feelings was hurt, and then he just snapped because he saw the look on her face, and he just snapped. He can't stand Chris Rock. It happened, you know. And so yeah, Will was Will Will was on one last night. Hopefully he can recover from this. Yeah, I mean they have been ripping. They have been shooting shots at him all night. Him and his wife. You know, and so yeah, and so yeah, I didn't even hear about that. That went over my head. Right to be told, I didn't know he slapped a reporter, a white reporter. You know, you know. And so, but Jada looks beautiful, whether she's in a GI Jane too or whatever. I think she looks beautiful. With her head the way that it is. Okay, that gown she had on. I'm gonna close on this note. That gown that she had on was to die for. That hunter green and those earrings, and it just really accentuated her color, and those earrings accentuated her face and her cheekbones. And I mean, she just looked regal. She looked like a queen to me. I just want to leave on that note. And so yeah, it just is what it is. People gonna be talking about it forever. And so yeah, yeah, it just is what it is at the end of the day. I think it was spontaneous. I'm sure Will is kicking himself about what happened last night, but I don't think you get to choose when you snap. Like I really don't. And so I've been on here for an hour talking about this. Um, yes, absolutely, Catherine. I mentioned that earlier. I mentioned it earlier. Chris, Uncle Klaus said I'm not taking up for Chris Rock at all. Let me go back. I'm not taking up for Chris Rock at all. He's not a true friend of the black community. But it's one thing to tell a tasteless joke. Now, if Chris was walking over towards them, all bets are off. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from with that, Cloud. I just try to do a 360 of the whole situation as well as the larger picture. And thank you, Kay. And I just wanted to present a kind of 360 view going beyond the slap. All of the things that we have to deal with in this black community, all of the things that black actors and actresses have to deal with in Hollywood. I just kind of wanted to give you guys my take on that aspect of the conversation. And so that's why I want to come on and talk about it. With you guys this morning. And so I hope you guys, kind of understand where I was coming from. Some may disagree, some may agree, but at least, maybe it'll give you a chance to think about the conversation. And moreover, gives you a moment to pause and think about the larger conversation, and that's what I was trying to talk about, the larger conversation. And we got a lot of things going on in this community that we have to deal with at one time, and it's unfortunate, but it's true, and there was so many levels to just a man slapping a man for disrespecting his wife. There are other things at play here, and I think Denzel said it best, you know, just when you're at your highest moment, watch out, because that's when the devil gonna come for you. And I believe that that's what happened, you know. And so yeah, I think that's what happened. But anyway, I'm gonna get out here, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. Um, I hope it gave you something to think about. Besides Will smacking Chris, and and so yeah, and so yeah, yeah. It's just I just wow, just wow, and I hate that Will Packer's accomplishment as well as all of the black and non-black actors and actresses. I hate that this had to be overshadowed, and even when it comes to the deaf community, their accomplishment, I hate that that had to be overshadowed, as well. And so anyway, yeah, I'm gonna talk to you guys later. I'm gonna get out of here. You guys have a wonderful day. Um, be careful out there. Be safe. Take some time. Be happy. Don't let the bitters get to you. You know what I mean? Don't let ego get to you either, because you can make a mistake. You will later regret. It takes a moment to make a mistake that will impact your life. And that's also a piece of wisdom that I want to impart and leave with you guys. I'm always telling the people in my family, stop, think for a minute, because my grandmama told me this for years. Please try to take a deep breath and think before you react. Think before you react, because that real quick reaction, if it's a bad response, it will haunt you for the rest of your life. And so I'm gonna leave you guys with that note. Please like the video on your way out the door. Feel free to comment in the comment section below. I hope anybody didn't see this as any kind of disrespect, or wasn't trying to read everybody comment, but I really wanted to get this conversation out. So if I didn't read your comment, don't take it personal. I appreciate you guys being so interactive and responding in the chat, whether you agree with me or not. Thank you for your opinion. I really appreciate and respect that. And so I'm gonna get off of here. And until next time, y'all have a good day. Bye bye. Peace.